Hola, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please do me a favor, subscribe, like, comment. I just took the lunch off to go eat with my kids at their school. I get that benefit because I work for myself. I make my own schedule in jobber and, maintenance contracts, all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm dealing with right now. So the only bad thing is I get calls all the time. If only there was an AI that could take care of that. It's raining right now. I don't know if you can tell. That is going to screw up my schedule more than anything because it looks horrible. It is still March. Usually, when we get into April, that's when it starts raining like this, and it just decided to come in a little bit earlier. I needed one more week of maintenance, and I'm probably going to have the guys help me out double time to get these done in time. Every other job I've gone to, I've tried to document some of them through some videos that you guys have seen already. Every time every other call I get or every other maintenance I go to, there's a freaking problem with it, which right now I don't need because I'm too busy, but work is work. We got to change out some parts, get some prices, all that kind of stuff. Right now I got to go to one of them, but their walk-in cooler's not working. So let's go see if it's anything. It has needed refrigerant in the past, and I told them it's on the way out. It's an R22 system. Would love for them to get a new one, obviously, but I think there's a leak in the coil. Now, I haven't topped it off in like 2+ years at least. And this was a while back, maybe even when I started my channel. So 2-3 years ago is the last time I personally topped it off. And then I don't want to sound like a broken record, but that doesn't mean that some other company didn't go in there and top it off. So I don't know what the issue is. It is a little weird that it just randomly is not working. So let's get up there, get on a roof in the rain, see what comes of today. I'll just record and see what happens. All right, so we'll take the probes, see if they fit in here. They do. This one. And the delivery just got here, and he's like, they're going to be here a while. You need to park in the front. Problem is, I just got a 28-foot ladder. It is a lot heavier than I thought compared to the 24 that I had. So I have to walk that shit to the back from the front parking lot. So luckily my dad lives down the street, picked up some 407. We're going to take the tool bag, a rope, and I'm too old. I'm not carrying it. I'm going to crop. It's a short parking lot, but I'm going to use a dolly. So bird's nest, I worked on it a few years ago, 407C. I hate when they have to disconnect like that, so I can't. It's hard to remove the box there because everything's tied in. But let's do a quick check here. So I'm recording. I don't need to stop the recording to check pressures on my phone. I got the nice display there. We are at 28 PSI, which is pretty low for a system like this. All right, so got the refrigerant. Now, typically on my other probes, I would need a charging tee. We do not need that with the JB probes. So here is our port. so this is pressurized. I have a valve down at the bottom. Purge it. And right now I'm monitoring superheat. I do have the liquid line hooked up just in case. And we can start metering this in. So I'm able to see everything I need to, but also we have a sight glass, so we're going to be monitoring that when that clears up as well. And it's because I know the history of this unit already, so we're topping it off for the customer, and I'm going to talk to them about possibly getting a new unit. They don't get maintenance on this either, but I might rinse the coil while I'm doing the AC one, because if I'm already here, I'm going to start doing the maintenance that is due on their ACs, and I can rinse off that condenser for them just to help it out. And personally, I'm not hooking up to the receiver because that is also leaking. If you crack it open, it leaks quite a bit. I'm not going to deal with it. They didn't put a liquid line port, so I don't have another port to check other than on the receiver. And that for a fact, if I crack it or open it, it's going to leak like crazy through the valve, which I think I had to leak seal it, or leak, what do you call it? Loctite, leak lock, whatever on the cap, just in case. So I'm not gonna mess with that. We're just checking the liquid line temperature and our superheat and the sight glass. All right, so quick observation. Since there's no way to set a refrigerant on these, your pressure probe is just a pressure probe, PSI, and your temperature clamp is just temperature. So you would need a PT chart to do the math, or just use their app and pick a refrigerant and let it do it on its own, let it do the math for you. But either way, you're going to need a PT chart or the app itself. Unless you just need a quick check, like I already know where we should be at. But if I want to do it by superheat or anything like that, you need the app, or you need to do the math and do the conversion. All right, so cracked drain. This Lennox right here, they said it never drops temperature. It's running. At least I think it is. Cooling. Let's check. Let's check the basics first. Oh shit, I forgot. I got handles. Blower's working. Oh, we got. Oh, I remember this one. Another company has done a bunch of leak repairs, so let's go get a leak detector really quick. I want to say that this coil is probably still leaking, but let's find out. I got my Hvacr leak detector here. It's going to be up in this section. I can't really see, but we will just get some bubbles on it. I got to reset it. Go back in there. Yeah, it's going off. So, yeah, let me get the bubbles real quick. All right, I don't know if you guys have noticed at your supply house, the new Calgon spray bottle. You can tell this is a different shape now, and it sprays much more smoothly and clean. That way you don't get any foam. They also have some with new labels, but if you see this shape, this is a new one, and I personally love it. A lot of them always use the basic one, but this one's really good. So let's get all that sprayed up. Look at how smooth that is every time. So I'm gonna let that sit for a few minutes, see if we get any micro leaks. My assumption, I don't see a big leak. It's probably just a bunch of micro leaks along the U-bends down here. And at this point, with all those repairs that have already been done, the least, I mean, I'll top it off, get them by, but they're gonna need I'd recommend a new coil at this point. I don't think they're gonna want a new system, but a new coil would help dramatically. So yeah, it's pretty consistent on this top area right here with the leak detector. I get some micro bubbles that keep like clustering on like 2 or 3 of the U-bends. But also whenever I've done these repairs or I've had issues, this, like the header part, the suction line that feeds into the evaporator, those also leak. And it's hard for me to see without tearing apart this unit. But my whole thing is, even if I fix whatever I have, if I have like 3, 5 leaks, whatever it is, I also have to worry about all the other patches that were done. There's a ton on that side that's all the way through. You can see on this side too that there's holes where they've done patch repairs, and then like how rusted it is kind of what concerns me. So like I said, we'll get them going today, and I'm gonna get the information off this one, and we will just quote a new coil. I don't want to be responsible for someone else's work either. That's just my thing. If I had done those other patches, maybe, but I would also be pretty frustrated that I got to do those and then these, and like it would probably same outcome, new coil, I'm pretty sure. So at this point, if it looks salvageable, I'll attempt, but at this point, like, why? These damn birds, that's where I stepped on. So I already started, but we're gonna rinse off the coil because their maintenance is also due. But just for being able to charge it up, I want to make sure this is somewhat clean, not a deep clean right now, but and there's no water access, so again, turbo tank comes in clutch. And as I'm doing this, I get an alert that our ice machine maintenance is up already, so fun. All right, so their main concern here is it never gets under 78, and on a day like this where it's 78 outside, it never gets under 77. I was inside checking the thermostat, so not cooling whatsoever. We're going to hook up, which one was it? All right, so get our probes out. So what I do like about these JBs, so it's on, is that we can check what our pressure is right away. So there we have 126 PSI, which seems fine. Oh no, it doesn't actually, but yeah, 210. So we're dealing with 410, that's why. This one I can tell just by seeing the pressure, not having to pull out my phone, that it is low. So we're gonna go get our, see, that's the only thing. So those 90s that I was talking about actually worked out. We got a 90 on here just so we can put the probe in. Now, this in itself is not a JB issue. I will say when it is an issue during my testing review, this is not a JB issue because I've had other probes by other brands, because I've worked on this or hooked up to this before, and it just, Linux specifically, they stick out no matter what. So I've always had that issue. It's the same with this one. You can angle it in, but it's basically where the door closes, so it kind of sucks to hook up probes in a lot, or in certain situations. That's the only thing with probes, is they got to stick out. So that 90 helps a lot, no matter what probe you have, just to put it back in on these Linux units. But I don't need to add a T. We're gonna top it off right here. All right, so we routed that so we can close the door. Obviously, I still gotta get in here to do the handle. I could have reversed it, but I already put it on. Let's just turn it on really quick. And now we'll use our app here. So yeah, it went down to 42. Well, it's gonna go down quite a bit. It's actually a hell of a leak. Forgot to mention up here, there looks like there's been leaks repaired as well. So that I have no issue with because I can see them. I can see those joints. So if they opt for a new coil, I'll go ahead and when we pressure test, I'll check these right here just in case. Obviously change out the dryers and just make sure we don't have any leaks on this side. But that I'm fine with. I don't want to be patching that coil anymore. All right, so I didn't check it before, but we're approaching 60 degrees. I'm not gonna dial it in perfectly, obviously, because we have a leak. Just topped it off to where pressures are normal-ish. And I'm gonna start packing up. We can get out of here. Just have to, you know, do them a solid, get it going for now, and then see what kind of repair they want to do. I would love a new unit in this place, but at least the coil, we'll see how see if they even have it. This is a Lennox. I don't deal with them too much. One time, I think I did have an issue getting a condenser coil, but we'll see if they have the evap. All right, and now we just fish everything down with our rope and hook. Everything made it safely down there, so now let me get down there. Get my lockjaw ladder grip, get safely down. All right, so it just satisfied. I could see the sight glass flashing. Now, I've never seen a unit like this. So we got our liquid line, well, suction dryer. If they installed that, although it kind of looks factory, they might have had a burnout. Our small ass compressor, and then obviously goes over there, comes out through this huge receiver. This would make this an accumulator. Comes out here through a king valve. Bunch of connections here. Looks like it has some sort of relief on top. I don't know actually, because I've never done this. Comes out through our liquid line dryer, and then obviously goes in. That's a lot of obviously your bypass valve is back there. That's a lot for this old unit. So they kept the original evap, cheapest bid won that one, and they gave them this new condenser here, which I need to get the label and see what refrigerant it was, because the old one was R22. Did they change the TXV valve? I don't know. We're gonna let it de-ice a little bit. I gotta also work on the AC units. All right, so here's my dilemma, guys. The label, it's so stupid. This design is so stupid. The ports are inside, and I hate that they didn't give me anywhere to sit, but the ports are inside. So I have to take off the grill instead of just being able to hook up out here. Putting a valve core removal tool is basically useless here. You're gonna have to hook up somewhere else in the back, so you gotta take off the lid. It's a little extra work when you do a startup your vacuum, or even just checking pressures if you want to see, because we're going to do that in a minute. I'm going to do a leak test really quick first. I've also noticed that these compressors are facing the other way to where I can't see the damn label, and even if I take off the top, I mean, trying to scan that with the app or get a picture is impossible. So I didn't know you could take a photo, because my phone has that macro lens where you can get like right up to it and it'll focus it and get you a picture. You don't have to be, you can be up close and get a picture. So I took a picture of it, and you can upload the photo to the Copeland app. And here's my dilemma, guys. This compressor, and I can see it, there's a label. There's a label over here anyway. But my dilemma here is that this is like a universal free-for-all. It is good for 404, 407A, 448A, 449A, 507, 134A, R22, and 407C. We did not install this. Nobody marked anything. So just word of advice for you guys. If you're doing a retrofit where especially on an R22, or maybe you're using 448, whatever these conversions are going to be, circle, highlight, write it somewhere, because I'm not seeing anything. And more than likely, and I don't think I can guess with the pressures, because they're all going to be similar. More than likely, we're going to have to recover and dump it all in again. And something like this is going to take at least 8 pounds, which sucks. I could guess and top it off, and technically it would work, but yeah, that sucks. So probably gonna recommend them to get a new evap if I don't find a leak up here, like on any of their work, which I don't see any oil anywhere. I do have to cut this back though. Make sure that this big one's not leaking. And it looks fine. Those look fine, but probably recommend the evap. Change that out. Change or check the line set in the drop ceiling, and then be able to use what we use, which is, personally, I've had better luck with 407C. And we'll mark it, or at least I'll know, because we don't use any of these other ones, unless we get a 404 system, if we can still get that. But or any of them, right? Because what do they want us to use now? 448? We haven't even gotten into that yet. We still use 404 and 407C. Cheapest bid is not always the best, because now I gotta guess, charge them again for refrigerant. If I take it out and weigh in 8 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever it is, it's relatively close. So I don't think they're gonna need more than 8, but I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what refrigerant it is. I'm gonna go look at the TXV. Do you think they changed the TXV? Probably not. And usually those R22 TXVs are good for any of the 407s, 448, 449. Usually they're compatible, so they could have used any of them. Our preference is not what they prefer, right? Every company is gonna use a different replacement refrigerant for these older systems, or going forward, if you guys are using 448, 449, whatever it is that we have to use on these walk-ins, we haven't gotten there yet. So again, every company is different. So we're gonna check the charge right here. I already explained to them that we need to guess and top off. It is what it is. We just got to make it work. And let's see how we can hook up to these ports. And then I'm going to get the information to get them a new evaporator coil, because that is the original R22 TXV. Not saying that it wouldn't work, but I can tell they didn't touch anything in the evaporator. The components are usually similar enough to where a replacement refrigerant, you wouldn't need to change everything. You would still be able to use the original equipment, the original components. Obviously, so like for 407C, you can remove all the refrigerant and then drop in 407C and completely fill that unit up. Up to like 80%. There is a volume difference. So when I've done retrofits for HVAC equipment that is R22, they got a new compressor. The new compressor is POE, and it's recommended for like 407C or whatever it is. It'll tell you you're gonna charge it to what 80% of the original R22 charge was. So that's how you kind of have to think about it. So let's see how I can get in here. So for the guys asking about so I have it barely on. We'll tighten it, see what it does. That's all you get. There's not really much that can come out. So those are approved for quick connect type of deal. Now this is a tricky one. So we're doing no couplers. No spray, anything like that. So they fit on here in these stupid ports that we see. Now, can I see them? Oh yeah, I can. We're not in full summer sunny day yet, but the sun is coming out. I'll wait till it's sunny to kind of update you on the screen real quick. So let us turn this back on and get, actually, what's our standing pressure? 125. See, I don't need my phone. I can just read it really quick. We are at 125 standing pressure. Now let's turn it on. Down to 90, 80, 70, down into the 60s. '50s. We're gonna monitor the side gloss right there too. Yeah, we're dipping into the 40. That's now granted it was already cool in there, but it looks like we're gonna go down to the 30s. We're gonna get a big restriction right there. So let's pull out the phone, take a look at our JB app. About 90 high side temperature. We're just a tad bit low, and I can see the screen pretty well. I don't know, I don't know how I feel about black screens, because other companies have done it. I feel like the white with the black numbers typically do well or better outdoors, but I can see it. $59 degrees. Superheat's like 39, 40. We need it closer to 20 over here at the compressor. We are icing up over here. It cleared up already, but if you want to check like for a restriction, like I said, we have 2 dryers here. You can just hook up a temp clamp to either side of whatever you're suspicious of. Usually it's a dryer that can clog up, but you would see it sweating or icing up partially. But you can put 2 temp clamps, because a restriction acts as like a TXV or metering device, and it'll cool the refrigerant, right? So 63 degrees. Actually, it is colder, 58. It was even right now. but it's not big of a difference because I put it closer and it's about to hit 59 and we got 58 on top. So like a degree difference, not a big deal, but you'll get like a few degrees off if there is a restriction. So when we do this repair, we need to maybe take this out. I have no idea if this is installed by that company or if they come standard on this equipment. It's kind of weird to me, but we will have to replace this one and just completely take this one out. Now in the sun, yeah, you're gonna have to cover it when you read it. I mean, once you cover it, it is really clear, but just directly in the sunlight, that's kind of hard to read. All right, so I did have to flip this over to get our port out, hooked up our hose, got our tank ready to fill it up. We'll just monitor that. It's flashing like crazy and it is already close to temp, so it's not coming up a whole lot. So I'm assuming that TXV is also acting up. Maybe that's what gave out. Forgot to mention that we've already done patch repairs. I've already done like 4 patches on that evaporator. And I told them at that time, once that happens, you know, more come out, right? On the U-bends, the valves themselves, that they were leaking. So I was like, once we do that, it'll last you a month, couple months, whatever, but eventually it gets worse. They just were complaining that it gets some frost and then it leaks water inside, but that was quite a bit. So, like I said, we got it up a little bit. I'm gonna monitor it, but it's not, we're still getting a slight restriction. All right, so now just showing how we remove them. Not too bad, but you gotta be careful. This is more on Heatcraft and how they did this. That makes it hard for me to do it quickly. Not necessarily. See this? Look at this one. That was a pain in the ass to do. But you don't get much to worry about a burn on these. All right, I think that's finally going to do it for today. We had a couple of real good opportunities to try those JB probes out because they have the built-in charging port to where if I need to top off a system, we don't need an extra charging tee, any extra fittings or anything like that. Now, that makes it in itself bigger. You need a certain clearance to put any of those probes in. And also I have refrigeration equipment where the valves are like right up against each other, and even getting a hose in there is a task. And what you can do is carry a couple of fittings. So like they come with the 45s, maybe get some 90s as well, some quick connects, and also a short hose. Kind of like what you saw on the charging hose that I used just to get a ball valve on there. That hose by itself could have also been used to hook up the probe to the system if you felt like a hose is the only thing that fits in there. You can use a little stubby hose. Usually they have a ball valve on there, and go about it that way. They're really what I think everybody should be using. Now, you can make some stubby gauges and get away with that, but even that is it's the same clearance, but now you got a big round gauge on there. That might not fit everywhere. Probes are just the easiest. They fit in your tool bag. That's how I'm going to carry them. So I'll let you guys know how they hold up, getting banged around and tossed around in the bag and up against other tools, stuff like that. But I would much rather have the probes in my bag. So when I get up to a roof, or like if it's a far distance and I'm like, hey, I got to make sure it has pressure. I got to make sure that, or what the pressure switch is or anything like that, what they're, you know, cycling off and on at. I don't have to go back to the van for a manifold, or I don't have to take up a manifold and then to realize I didn't even need one. So I got to carry it up, carry it back. Probes are just really cool because they're super convenient. So I want to see how these probes do in the Texas sun. And yes, we have our own sun. And that is the JB probe kit out in the wild. I still want to get to use them a little bit more, maybe give you some feedback after more of a long-term use. From what I've noticed,
I always lose my psychrometers, but leaving it on overnight in a walk-in freezer came out just fine the next day. Still had to do some work to that equipment, and I was like, man, my psychrometer. I went in there and the screen dims, and it's an OLED screen, so with all of that, there's no hit to the battery. So these batteries in here are gonna last quite a bit. I don't feel like I would need to change them often, where on my other probes I did have to change them every now and then. Actually, we're going to learn something here. The auto off is on the probe itself in the settings. So if you go to settings on the display here and go down all the way to auto off, you do have the option. Maybe I had mine on forever, but you do have like 30 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and forever. And you can see there that the screen dimmed. Will say though that if you're clumsy like me, I've already dropped these, and 3 for 3, the batteries pop out. So I do like what Brian said over on the live stream, is to put the band over the cover just to kind of hold it in place. And honestly, because it goes into this little groove here, they come with extras. You can just put one over if you want. Just kind of secure that battery cover in the back, because they do pop out if dropped. And that's with the tab staying locked, it'll pop off. So with that being said, they are a little bit bigger. They are made completely of a plastic housing, and the buttons do stick out a little bit to where I had one jam because I put it in my tool bag and it jammed. I was going to bring it up to them, but then it just kind of fixed itself. It popped back out. But other than those few things, I've enjoyed using them. So you just have to take the good with the bad. You got a charging port without having to add another T, but you do need a angled coupler of some sort, because these are very hard to put in some of the equipment that I work on. So I do appreciate that they include the coupler in at least the new kits, because I know some guys said they didn't get that. But the new one has these on the box, so you're going to get them. But just in case you missed it, I do have a video where we took them out of the box, kind of went over all the pieces in there, the case that it comes with. That is a little bit too big for me to be carrying around, so that's why I prefer to put these probes or any probes in my other tool bags, because I can just take one bag for everything, right? I don't want to take a separate bag. But if you guys maybe take care of yours and use the case, they'll probably last you a lot longer. So just keep that in mind. We'll see how they hold up. They've been fun to use. And yeah, like I said, hopefully this helped you. Seeing like different scenarios, different equipment, how they fit, what the screen looks like outside. It is not the biggest, not the brightest, but I mean, you just have to kind of cover it a little bit. And in the brightest of days, on the widest of roofs, I was able to see them. The screen can just, be very useful, and my only concern is the durability. So we'll check in after I've been using them a little bit longer. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys.